Going up towards couple here.
If you're wondering about that clip of Ed and Liz, that is them celebrating that they're not the worst couple on 90 Day Fiancé The Last Resort. And that is what we're talking about today, 90 Day Fiancé The Last Resort. That clip I put in the beginning there of Ed and Liz is actually the beginning of this episode. So if you watched it, you would have seen that first. And the reason I'm talking about it more is because when I went to make this video, I noticed how weird they were sitting in the chair. It just looks really bizarre and sort of uncomfortable. And you're going to have a hard time convincing me that whoever was putting together this show didn't put that in there just because it looks so weird and so uncomfortable. If you're not sure about what I'm talking about, there is a picture right now up on the screen so you can see it, but I just wanted to know if anyone else caught it. Now, moving on from that, we're going to be talking about Kalani and Asuelu first. They definitely stole the show during episode 1 when we found out that Asuelu had cheated, and then he gave Kalani a hall pass and she took it and cheated as well. During this episode, we find out that Kalani actually has feelings for the other man and she has kept in contact with him. And of course, Asuelu is super upset about this. He points out that he has not kept in contact with any other women. You know, it's just Kalani for him. So he has a big issue with this. He's upset about her maintaining contact with that man. But Kalani, in my opinion, makes a really good point. She had only been intimate with Asuelu. And now this person. She associates intimacy with being in a relationship and having an emotional connection as well. She's not going to hook up and move on. That's not how she is. So she is making it clear, like she says that. I've only been with you and now him. So that's just not how she works. She doesn't hook up and move on. But this is very upsetting to Asuelu clearly, because now it feels like things are not going to work out until she stops talking to this other man. But Asuelu has all sorts of other issues with why he's upset about her, you know, hooking up with someone else. And one of them is a really, really flawed argument. I'm going to put in the clip here of what he says.
What is the difference?
He can get you pregnant.
He is right. She could get pregnant, but he could also get someone else pregnant. And we all know that germs can be shared all around and no one wants that. I don't know. I think this couple, like, there's a part of me that just thinks this relationship is over. I don't think Asuelu is as mature as he needs to be with Kalani. But you know what? They have 2 young kids. They should try as hard as they can to work it out. But I was just surprised to hear him use that as an argument. Next, we see Angela and Molly get together at the pool. And I have to tell you, as much as Angela can drive me crazy, I did enjoy watching her and Molly together. They do seem to be 2 peas in a pod. They really had a good time by the pool.
We always make a joke about it. And I said I had more in the front than I got in the back. I don't twerk.
The laughter during this scene is absolutely contagious. So my theory is if Angela and Molly are not able to work out their relationships, maybe they'll just at least, you know, have found new best friends. Next, we actually see the couples head to a therapy session, and they're told they're going to do an obstacle course, and it is one of those obstacle courses where it's supposed to work on communication skills. So one partner will be blindfolded, and the other partner will have to tell them how to make their way through the obstacle course and complete the task. Now, it's really a short, small obstacle course. It's just going around some cones, putting some blocks together, and breaking a water balloon. There's really not much to it. But Ed is super serious about it. He is determined to win. So everyone pairs up to do it. Of course, Michael is not actually there with Angela, so Angela gets to pick her own partner. She picks Jovi, which seemed to be a really good choice for her. They all do the obstacle course, except when Ed goes to do it, it's clear that he's doing it without the direction of Liz. And I should back up. Ed was the one blindfolded. Liz is giving the direction, but he's not really taking it. And at one point, she realizes he can see, and she's like, "You can see. You're not even listening to me." And so she just stops. And he completes the entire obstacle course. Come to find out, he was able to see through his blindfold. But Ed does not admit it while he's there. Everyone just knows. Of course, this wasn't actually about how fast you could go through the obstacle course, but it was about how well you could communicate. And the therapists say that the winners are Angela and Jovi, which just makes the situation more funny because, of course, they're not a couple. Now, Jovi is able to explain this when he's sitting in a confessional with Yara. He says that they communicate the best because they aren't a couple. That's why they were communicating so well with each other. But Yara actually has a different theory, and she ends up saying that's because Jovi and Angela are alike. Now, I'm going to show you a clip of her talking with Jovi about it, and I want you to watch his face. But before I do, I just want to add, this isn't the first time that she has said Jovi is like Angela. She does it twice in this episode, and I just think the whole thing is hilarious. But watch Jovi's face.
Angela is just like you, just a female sometimes.
You can tell he is like, wait, what? What did you just say? I'm sure he didn't expect to hear that, but she says that during a one-on-one too when he's not there. So she does see a similarity between Jovi and Angela. After this, the couples head over for a group therapy session to talk about what happened and how they were communicating during the activity. They all head out to the beach, and while they're there, the therapists tell Molly and Kelly that they did a great job communicating during the activity, and you can tell that both of them feel really good about it. They also talked to Ed and Liz about how when Liz realized Ed was cheating, she just stopped telling him what to do. She just shut down. She didn't bother giving directions. It was clear Ed was doing whatever he wanted, and Ed ends up admitting that he cheated. Of course, it was obvious to everyone because he just went through the obstacle course like he could see, so it was clear he was able to. And they talked to Ed and Liz a little bit about that. But the people who steal the show in this episode end up being Yara and Jovi because they start talking about how they communicate. And Yara points out that if it was reversed, if she was the one giving direction, Jovi wouldn't trust her. And so the therapists, of course, go into that a little bit more. And Yara says that she has something she wants to tell Jovi. For those of you who don't know about Yara and Jovi, Yara is from the Ukraine. She lives here in America with Jovi. They have one child together. Jovi really wants to have a second baby. Yara, not so much. It seems like Yara is just not that content with where they are, and their relationship isn't that good, so she's not ready for another baby. Jovi really wants one. So there's some conflict there. So she makes the confession that is related to that.
And I've been hiding from you. I've been taking the birth control, and I didn't tell you about that.
First of all, I don't know what I thought she was going to say, but that wasn't it. When she said that she was taking birth control, that just wasn't what I thought. But, you know, here's one of those things. It sounds like it's not a big deal, but it really is based on what he says next and then what she says. He basically says to her, I don't know why you were hiding this. I would never make you do something that you don't want to do. And she says, I know you. Yeah, you would. When you want something, you get it. Which means she feels like the things that she wants doesn't matter to the point that she needs to hide something to try to protect, you know, her own interest and what she wants. So even though it sounds kind of like, oh, it's just some birth control, they're definitely not in the same place in life with the things they want. And she feels like what she wants doesn't matter, which is serious. And honestly, it kind of aligns with what we've seen in the show with them too. I think Yara misses her home. She wants to go home. She feels like she can't now. She doesn't want to have another baby. She feels like Jovi would make sure it happened if she wasn't on birth control. So she has to hide it. I think it sort of aligns with who they are as a couple and what we've seen from them. The good news for Yara is she really has a group of women sitting there who are going to support her because Kalani immediately says it's her body and her choice. During a confessional, Molly says, like, you know, it only takes one time to get pregnant. So basically, if Yara's not ready, she should be on birth control. So she has a good support system with the women sitting there. I do hope that Jovi is shocked to hear that his wife feels like, one, she can't trust him, two, she can't tell him things, and three, what she wants doesn't matter. I hope he realizes there's like a lot of issues layered in there, and it's not just that he's shocked that she doesn't want to have another baby. There's more to it if you cannot tell your partner that and be honest about it. Unfortunately, we really don't know more than that because there's just not a lot of depth in these episodes so far. But after Yara and Jovi talk, they the therapist talk a little bit to Kalani and Asuelu. And, Asuelu says that Kalani is still talking to the other guy and that upsets him. She ends up saying that she will stop talking to the other man while she is there trying to work on their relationship. Now, she says while they're there. But did you guys notice, like, when she's saying it, sort of, I don't know, the way she was moving her eyes and her facial expression, it just felt like she wasn't sure. I think she has feelings for this other guy, and her relationship with Asuelu, wasn't that good to begin with. I don't know if she is really sure she's making the right choice. So that's that. That's my feelings. You can let me know in the comments if you disagree. But of course, while they're sitting out there, Angela is not going to be forgotten. So she points out that Kalani and Asuelu have really helped her with her relationship with Michael, because she has had sympathy for Asuelu and what he's going through, but she doesn't have that for Michael. And so she ends up looking at the iPad that's there and tells Michael that she's sorry and she's ready to forgive him.
So I'm just going to say this one time. I'm sorry for not seeing that you really are trying.
So Angela continues on and she says that she's going to work on forgiving him. Of course, we will just have to see how the rest of the season goes. So far, Michael hasn't said a lot. I do feel a little bit sorry for him sitting on this iPad at like 2, 3 in the morning, just watching the screen as it's all happening. But I guess, he's saying he's working on the relationship. I just wonder how much he gets paid from this. And that's another thing. I think that's really, to a certain extent, what this is about. There's actually a scene during the first episode where Jovi and Yara are talking, and Yara's like, see, it is serious. I'm sure leading up to this, Jovi was like, this is not serious therapy. And they had conversations about it. And then she said there on camera, it is serious. I think TLC just wanted a way to pull back in some of the people that are most infamous or the people that cause the most drama and bring them all together. So that's what we've really got going on here. And just watching the show makes it obvious, because almost half of the show is just about them socializing together. And that is how this episode ends. We see some of them gather together in a really small hot tub. So I am not going to do this scene justice, but I am going to summarize it. Liz and Ed approach the hot tub first. It is a rather small hot tub for a big group of people, but they go ahead and get in it. Ed ends up dropping his drawers, so he is in there in his birthday suit. Then Angela approaches. Angela does not mind when people are lacking clothing. I'm going to try to explain this in a way where my YouTube channel doesn't get flagged or this video isn't flagged. But, Angela, she's like a clothing optional kind of person. At least that's how it seems. Angela approaches. Ed stands up. She gets the full view of the front of Ed. Then Angela pulls her top down. So there's, a little bit of give and take there. Ed gets back in the hot tub. Angela goes, and I think she's like taking her shoes off and stuff. Then Molly and Kelly approach. Ed looks over. There's Kelly. He's approaching. So Ed puts his shorts on. To be honest with you, it was hilarious. I definitely recommend watching it if you haven't. Angela and Ed are just two characters, and when they're both in a good mood, it is funny. Though I would appreciate it if people just kept their clothes on. But as things go on, and as they all get in the hot tub together, it kind of gets tense. Kelly and Ed just don't get along that well. And things, they just take a turn. It goes from funny to them kind of pointing out some of the behaviors that Ed does that are really rude, like talking over people, interrupting them, trying to get attention. Kelly does not like this. So things get really tense. That kind of summarizes the whole show, guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments. But before you click off, I want to show you a scene of Kelly talking about Ed being in the hot tub.
When Meemaw told me Ed was naked in the tub, I was like, oh God, why?
I think Kelly really summarized up how a lot of us were feeling as we watched it. As soon as I seen Ed drop his shorts, I was like, ugh, why? Why does he have to do this? It's just like he wants to not have his clothes on camera. But that is it. That is most of the show. I think we're building up for some Kelly, Molly, Ed drama. I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening with Jovi and Yara. I hope they can work through some of this stuff. I just don't know about Kalani and Asuelu. I think Angela is there to be funny, and I feel like I'm missing a couple, and I don't even know who they are, so who am I forgetting? Whoever they are, they're not saying much if I'm forgetting somebody. Okay, so that is it for this episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you haven't already, please go ahead and click like and subscribe, and I hope you come back here to Happily Ever Reality.